right? So where do you put the pouch?
The only thing is that Elon is bothering us. Like, we were supposed to take out a chush gadol, and he's bothering us. The Doge is not letting us do our chush gadol.
Okay, say that. So we're going to learn it's 2 days before Chav B'Shvat. It's always good to learn an Inyan and Inyan Gula Mashiach, and this Maimer is all about Mashiach. But it's also very Inyan Diyama because in 2 days is Chav B'Shvat, and this Maimer the Rebbe gave out for the Siyum HaShleishim, for the Siyum HaKadosh of Reb Chaim Musker. Yeah. So before we get started, I figure we'll ask a question to see if we got anywhere with all these shiurim. Yeah. What's the Inyan of being Mekayim Torah and mitzvahs? Yeah. Yeah. No, what's why are we Mekayim? What's
to be closer to Hashem? Over there, I don't think you're
for
so
us
close.
to be closer.
Yes, I think over there, I don't think you're so close.
That's the lotion of mitzvah.
No, yeah.
So you have the Yid, and in order for the Yid to be close to the Eibishter, he has to have Torah and mitzvahs. Yeah, everybody agrees with that?
Yeah.
We made no progress.
Maybe people think
The Rebbe is teaching us time and again and again and again. We're not getting it. It's a whole other look. It's a whole other look. We need Torah and mitzvahs to reveal the greatness of the Yid himself. It's not pshat that we need Torah and mitzvahs to bring us close to the Eibishter. Pshat is that the Yid is the closest thing to the Eibishter. A Yid is the closest thing. A Yid is the greatest thing. A Yid is the closest thing to the Eibishter. We need Torah and mitzvahs to reveal that. That's the word. It's not pshat that a Yid that is far from the Eibishter, and we need Torah and mitzvahs to bring us close to him. No, a Yid is be'etzem one with the Eibishter. Narvas, we need Torah and mitzvahs to reveal how the Yid is one with the Eibishter. Yeah, so this is another mimer. The Rebbe keeps going on this theme again and again. You see, we'll see by the end of this mimer that be'etzem, it's the Yid that's close to the Eibishter. Let's Torah and mitzvahs bring it out. Okay, and we're going to talk about the Hameisim Mashiach, Tchiya Hameisim. It's exciting stuff. Lahavin in Tchiya Hameisim to verstehen was is der Inyan von Tchiya Hameisim. In the Isa Mishnah, it says in the Mishnah, Kol Yisrael, starting Lamed Gimel.
You have it.
It says, Kol Yisrael Yeshem Chelik Le'elam Haba. Every Yid, all of the Yidden have a portion in Elam Haba. What's Elam Haba? You do it appears Elam Haba b'Mishnah Zu Elam Atchiyah. When the Mishnah says Elam Haba in this Mishnah, he's referring to the time, the world of Tchiya Hameisim. As we can prove and see from the end of the Mishnah, that these are the people who don't have a part in the world to come. Somebody who says that Tchiya Hameisim is not Minatayr. Like it says in the Gemara, who kafar with Tchiya Hameisim? He denied in the existence of Tchiya Hameisim. Therefore, he has no part in Tchiya Hameisim and it's midde keneged midde. So he says, the Mishnah says Elam Haba. Elam Haba is a very undefined term. What's for example, you say Gan Eden. Okay, Gan Eden is a defined thing. There's a place that's called Gan Eden. We know what we're talking about. Hameisim Mashiach is a defined thing. It's the times of Mashiach. What's Elam Haba? The world to come. To come when? To come where? What is it? So there's two pirushim in Elam Haba. One pirush in Elam Haba is that's Gan Eden. Another pirush in Elam Haba is that Hameisim that's Tchiya Hameisim. And David says that you can see from this Mishnah that when this Mishnah says Elam Haba, it's referring to Tchiya Hameisim. How can we see? Because it says in the end that these are the people who won't go to Elam Haba. Somebody who denies Tchiya Hameisim midde keneged midde. So you can see that this Mishnah is talking about Elam Haba. When it says Elam Haba, it's talking about Tchiya Hameisim.
But the Tchiya Hameisim is not the Fedish listed in Torah. It's only the Beremes.
And Elam Haba. Okay.
It's not the Befedish. We have to learn about Ramazim.
Okay.
Rashi has to tell us. How do we know? Because I'm Adam. So, I mean, an average person, he's going to say, I read it. I read the text. It's not there. I looked every word from Bereshit till the word Yisrael. It's not there.
It's one of these.
Yeah, but the Rambam is a big mind. We're talking about the average person. Yeah.
Listen, but
Means a lot of people will complain. Will say it's not in the 5 books of Moses. It's not there. So what? You want me to go look in the Rambam? That's when was it? That was written what? 800 years ago.
What made you think about when you get here? I'm saying you're contrasting it with Elam Haba. I'm saying Elam Haba is also not. Or Making a general
saying
point.
stop.
Making a general
Stop.
point.
In
Okay.
general,
The-
then you have Tchiya Hameisim. He's saying
It's
in
not
general,
it's not
it's not
a
beferish.
nigla. It's not beferish nigla.
It's a nigla. You're saying it's not in Teresh B'Chsav. You're saying, or at least not in Chamish Chum Shetayim.
That's what I'm saying. It's not there. Beferish, right?
And
It
Chamish
has
Chum
to
Shetayim.
be learned out. It's there by
Right,
Ramisa.
right. The Rambam took a lot of heat. You mentioned the Rambam. There's Igris of the Rambam where he's defending himself that he believes in Tchiya Hameisim. There were those, because he barely mentions it in Sefer Hayad, so there were those who accused him. He was accused of many things, the Rambam. Yeah. There were those who accused him of not believing in Tchiya Hameisim, and he had to write a very strong letter to say that he does and to defend against the kindness. Anyways, that's not for now. That would make an interesting shir for those who are interested in Yiddish history. And this is the meaning of the Mishnah that Kol Yisrael Yeshem Chelik Le'Olam Haba. The Gan Eden, when it comes to Gan Eden, Shalafamim Nikra Gam Ken B'Shem Elam Haba. Gan Eden is also called Elam Haba sometimes. Av Sheyesh Gam Achshav. Even though, why would Gan Eden be called Elam Haba, the worlds to come, if Gan Eden exists now? And the only reason it's called Elam Haba, the answer is, why do we call it Elam Haba even though it exists now? For example, right now there's millions of neshamas in Gan Eden, the neshamas of the Avis and Moshe Rabbeinu v'chulu. So many neshamas are all in Gan Eden. So why do we call it Elam Haba, the worlds to come? This is from the Rambam, that the person gets there after his avedus. When we say Elam Haba, we don't mean to say the Elam Haba is not nisyachis on the world itself, that this is a world in the future. It's nisyachis to the person. It's nisyachis to the person. It's haba to you. In the future, hopefully none of us will get there. A person will go to Gan Eden after his life. Ba'al Madin. Sakopanim. When you get to Gan Eden, Ksiv Miyale Baharavaya, who could go up to Hashem's mountain, which is a reference to Gan Eden. Dafke Nekicha Paim Uvarleva, somebody who has clean hands and a pure heart. In other words, Yashnam Kamat Noim Michtelis Kais Gan Eden. There are several conditions before a person is permitted to go into Gan Eden. Here comes our Mishnah and tells us a chiddush that which that is the primary description of Elam Haba, that all Yidden have a part in Elam Haba. Okay, so here's the first thing to start the conversation, that there is a world of Tchiya Hameisim, and in this world of Tchiya Hameisim, every single Yid will be there. Okay, and that's the beginning of the Maimer. So the Rebbe asks, the revelation that we will have in Tchiya Hameisim is much higher than the Gilu, the revelation of Gan Eden. Like we just mentioned before, Gan Eden can exist even now, even before the revelations of the times of Mashiach and Tchiya Hameisim. The Gilu of Tchiya Hameisim will be only la'asid when the world is nis'ala to the times of Mashiach and beyond. Furthermore, and we see a further another way that we see the greatness of the world of Tchiya Hameisim is because it's also going to be after the Hameisim Mashiach. In other words, even though there's going to be a big revelation during Hameisim Mashiach, but Tchiya Hameisim is going to be even greater, and that's why it's going to continue to exist even after Hameisim Mashiach. So very interesting. This one parenthesis, Gam la'achar Hameisim Mashiach, will be also after Hameisim Mashiach. When the Rebbe says Gam, it's mashma that Tchiya Hameisim is going to exist also in the times of Hameisim Mashiach. There's a whole discussion. When is Tchiya Hameisim going to be? And I believe the predominant view is that first there's going to be Hameisim Mashiach, and sometime later, the Rebbe himself speaks about it a lot, and sometimes later there's going to be Tchiya Hameisim. Over here, the Rebbe is saying,
and also maybe Tchiya Hameisim will be in stages as well.
Yeah,
that's a first.
Yeah.
Big tzaddikim, whatever.
Yeah, but over here from the Gam, it's mashma that we'll have an inyan of Tchiya Hameisim also in Hameisim Mashiach. So it's an interesting Gam that I don't understand the meaning of it. This is going to continue to happen even after Mashiach comes. And here's a very beautiful taich in davening that we're going to get to later also in the Maimer. We'll see in the Ha'ara. Yeah, this is a beautiful taich in the Shabbos davening. And we have a longer bracha Rishain of Kriya Shema. So just before we start singing Keladin, we say, there's nobody who can compare to you in Elam Haza. There's nobody besides you in the times of Elam Haba. Efes Biltecha, there's nothing beside you, Lemesa Mashiach, in the times of Mashiach, and there's nobody who's similar to you in the times of Tchiya Hameisim. So he says, these four things that the davening describes is the first level is Elam Haza, right? And then the next one is the Gilu of Elam Haba, Shakavana Elam Haba Kani Legan Eden. Over here, unlike in the Mishnah and the davening over here, Elam Haba is referring to Gan Eden. Is higher than the revelation that you can have in Elam Haza. Even higher than the Gilui of Gan Eden. Who Hagilui Yemei Mashiach is the revelation. The next one in the pasuk, the Gilui of Yemei Mashiach. Efes Biltecha Yemei Mashiach. However, the highest level, who Hagilui the Tchiya Hameisim, Shul L'mayla Yeser Gam Hagilui Yemei Mashiach, is the Gilui of Tchiya Hameisim, which is even higher than the revelation of Yemei Mashiach. So from the davening, we see again that Tchiya Hameisim is even higher than Yemei Mashiach. The Afal became, and nevertheless, which is lower, there are several conditions for somebody to be able to enter into Gan Eden. When it comes, however, to the higher Gilui, to the much higher Gilui of Tchiya Hameisim, every single Yid is going to receive it. So how does that make sense? You understand the question, Rami?
Yeah.
Okay. Unekudas echad habiurim bezeh, k'muvur b'kama drushim. The idea of one of the biurim in this, as is explained in several drushim, starting from the Alter Rebbe, shehaschar de Gan Eden hu alei sekatera. The reward that the neshama receives in Gan Eden is for the learning and for the harving in Torah. V'haschar de Tchiya Hameisim, however, hu al kiyum hamitzvos. The reward that we're going to experience in Tchiya Hameisim, that's not for Torah, that's for the mitzvahs that we perform. And this is why Gan Eden is a world which is experienced and it exists for the neshamas, which are, in other words, neshamas b'lei gufim. However, in Tchiya Hameisim is going to be dafka neshamas in bodies. The study of Torah is shaykh bika to the neshama, v'kima mitzvahs lahaguf. And performing the mitzvah of the performance of mitzvahs is shaykh primarily to the guf. Yeah, but the keich haseichel is more shaykh to the neshama. What is it that thinks? It's not a physical action, something physically moving. It's more a nefesh dika thing, a neshama dika thing. So limud Torah b'chlal, the Alter Rebbe talks about it in Tanya, is shaykh more to the neshama, and therefore in Gan Eden, which is a reward for limud Torah, so who learns Torah? The neshama learns Torah. So therefore the neshama exists over there without the body. Was hast du dort zu tun? Yeah, the body is told you have nothing to do over here to this reward. This is a reward for what the neshama did. Masha'enkin, when we come to Tchiya Hameisim, that's a reward for performing the mitzvahs. And over there, the guf is zera greisa yachsen. Yeah, the body is the one. Could the neshama do any mitzvahs without the body? Not at all. Not at all. Kiyadua, when Moshe Rabbeinu went up Lamaila, the Torah was already Lamaila, a place where there are no bodies. And the Malachim wanted that the Torah should remain Lamaila where there are no bodies. What was Moshe Rabbeinu's answer to them? All things that have to do with the body. Do you have parents? Do you have I forgot what were the other things I mentioned them, but they were all things. It's a heart. These are all things that exist in the guf. So since it's the guf, dafka, that's Mekayim mitzvah. So when it comes to give reward, obviously the guf is there to receive the reward together with the neshama. The kivan shekima mitzvah b'chol Yisrael, and since being Mekayim mitzvahs is something that's found in every single Yid, afilu Pesha Yisrael, even the sinners amongst the Yidden, Meleim mitzvahs kerimein, are full of mitzvahs like a pomegranate. Lachein, therefore, Kol Yisrael yesham chelik le'elam haba. Therefore, every single Yid will have a part in Elam Haba. Elam Haba, in other words, the world of Tchiya Hameisim, is the time of reward for mitzvahs. Every single Yid, even though he couldn't maybe meet the conditions to go to Gan Eden, however, he has the conditions that are necessary to come to Tchiya Hameisim, because he did mitzvahs. Every single Yid does mitzvahs, and therefore he enters into Tchiya Hameisim. I remember reading somewhere, I can't remember clearly where I saw it and how reliable it is, but I remember seeing somewhere that somebody asked the Rebbe, how can you call, no, we'll get to it,
Pesha Yisrael, the Malay Mitzvahs Kirim.
How could you say that Pesha Yisrael are Malay Mitzvahs Kirim?
If the Malay Mitzvahs Kirim, they're not Pesha Yisrael.
So that was the Rebbe's answer. The Rebbe's answer was is if they're Malay mitzvahs. Let's just finish the part. If they're Malay mitzvahs Kirimin, how can you call them Pesha Yisrael? That was the Rebbe's response. Saying this was an argument with the
And the Rebbe told them this answer.
The Rebbe told him this answer.
Yeah, sure. This is where Grona tells the story. You don't remember?
Yeah, but I'm saying, but Sataka. So why are you calling them Pesha Yisrael?
The Rebbe has a question. I never saw an answer from the Rebbe on it. Some things are better left as a question.
No. They don't have an answer.
Then why are they called Pesha Yisrael? I doubt the Rebbe had an. Okay,
No.
good. Just be clear.
He had his for that, but the Rebbe says because he was looking at it from pessimistically. The Rebbe said, "This is the answer." Optimistic.
Good. All right, I'll go upon him. So we say like this. V'shleimar. So now that we have the answer of the Alter Rebbe and the other Rebbeim, that the reason why every single Yid is going to be Zeicha to Tchiya Hameisim is because Tchiya Hameisim is a reward for mitzvahs, and every single Yid does mitzvahs. So now we can better understand the Mishnah. That your nation are all tzaddikim, and for eternity they will inherit the land. It's over here going on Tchiya Hameisim. So the Yeshlemer Shekavanas Mishnah b'Shenemar. It's not only to bring a proof, right? When you learn the Mishnah b'Pashtus, you see what's the Mishnah saying when the Mishnah adds that all of the Yidden will be in Eretz Achayim in Tchiya Hameisim. So we have a Mishnah that pasuk that supports the Maimon Mishnah. It says it's not only a support for the Maimon Mishnah. Elagam levayer hatam alzeh. This pasuk also explains the reason why all of the Yidden are going to be in Tchiya Hameisim. It says somebody who performs mitzvahs is called a tzaddik. Why does he get the title of tzaddik? Because all of the mitzvahs are called tzedakah, and therefore those who perform mitzvahs and keep the mitzvahs, they are called tzaddikim. So here's the beer. The pasuk says, since they're kulam tzaddikim, since they all perform mitzvahs, they all perform mitzvahs for Yisayim mitzvah. And not only that, Shem Malay mitzvahs. They are full of mitzvahs. What does the Rebbe say the Pirish Malay mitzvahs is? When a Yid does a mitzvah, there's two ways how to touch this. I'm going to touch it like this. When a Yid does a mitzvah, it fills up his entire existence. He does it with a kol atzmaisei temarna. He gets all into it. The mitzvah takes him completely over. That's one way to touch this. Another way to touch it is that the Yid is entirely filled up with mitzvahs. I'm not sure which way. What's the pashut shutishal mikra over here? The pshat is that all of the Yidden, that mitzvahs are mekayim, that the mitzvahs mekayim malim is kol mitzvahs, that if they fill up their entire existence, it means that their entire existence is filled with mitzvahs, or that when a Yid does a mitzvah, it fills up his entire existence. It's probably, I don't know. Whichever way it may be, lachein, therefore, la'elam yishoadet. So we have a beer, and therefore we have a conclusion. So before we saw the Rebbe's Vart in the Maimer, how do we learn the Mishnah? It's like a Gzeres HaKosov. The pasuk says Leila Mir Shoaretz, and the primary part of the pasuk is Leila Mir Shoaretz. Over here, the way the Rebbe explains it, we have a statement and therefore a conclusion, a reason and a conclusion. Since V'amech Kulam Tzadikim, since all of the Yidden are Mekayim mitzvahs and they're Moli mitzvahs, Memalim Kol Mitzvahs, that's the reason why Leila Mir Shoaretz. Eretz Achayim, the world of life, Shekoyal Chai Elam Haba, which is a reference to Chai Elam Haba, to be clear, Tchiya Hameisim. Amnam, Pizet Tzarech Lahavin. Here comes the Rebbe's question that the whole continuation of the Maimer will go around. Tzarech Lahavin, we have to understand. Mashamevi b'Mishnah Gam Hemshach HaKasuv, Neitzer Matoy Masayod Elispart. The Mishnah continues also to the end of the pasuk, which the end of the pasuk says that the Yidden are a branch that the Eibishter planted. The work of my hands, the work of the Eibishter's hands, Lispar, on which I take glory. This, that the Yidden are a branch that the Eibishter planted, and something that the Eibishter made with his hands, his handiwork. That is something that has to do with what they are. Even before they perform mitzvahs, the Yidden are the handiwork of the Eibishter, the plant that the branch that the Eibishter planted, or the branch that came from the tree that the Eibishter planted. So that's talking about the reference to what the Yid is himself without mitzvahs. And the Mishnah also brings the end of the pasuk. The reason why the Yidden have a part in Elam Haba and Tchiya Hameisim is also mitzad the Maila that the Yidden have in the innate, which is innate to them, their own Maila. Until now, until we paid attention to the fact that the Mishnah brings the end of the pasuk, we had a nice Mishnah. Yeah, it's going to be Elam Tchiya. In Elam Tchiya, we're going to get a schar, a reward for the mitzvahs. And since all of the Yidden do mitzvahs, therefore they're all going to be in Tchiya Hameisim. And saying everything is clear, it makes sense. Now we do mitzvahs when the Eibishter is going to give us reward for mitzvahs, and therefore all those who do mitzvahs are going to be there. Everything makes sense. All the words in the words in the Mishnah itself and the pasuk that the Mishnah brings, everything fits together beautifully. But then the Mishnah adds something all the way at the end. They're a branch from the tree that the Eibishter planted, and they're my work in which I take glory. Which this is a reference to the Yid himself. L'chore, how does that fit in? Why, because of that, are the Yidden going to be in Tchiya Hameisim? It's obvious that it's one of the reasons why we're going to be by Tchiya Hameisim. But what's the explanation? Okay. The Shleimus, the Rebbe says over here. Now we're going to start seeing a little bit different kufis, or different inyanim at least, in Tchiya Hameisim. And it's good to also think about just in general terms of what's the times of Mashiach. What are we going to experience in the times of Mashiach? So it says like this: in the Gilui, in the revelation that there's going to be in the times of Mashiach, there are two things. First of all, there's the schar al ha'aveda tekiyam ha'mitzvahs, and this is what the beginning of the pasuk is talking about. We're going to get a reward for performing the mitzvahs in today's day, in the time of Galus. That all of the lights that we drew down, that the Yidden draw down by performing mitzvahs in their day-to-day life now, will be revealed. And that's going to be the reward. However, then there's going to be a second Inyan in Tchiya Hameisim, through the revelation of the mitzvahs, of the hamshachas of the mitzvahs, the Yidden will then go up to a higher level. And what's this higher level than even the revelation of the mitzvahs? This is Shatiskala Ma'alos and Shalisol Mitzad Atzma. In Tchiya Hameisim, we will have the revelation of the Maila of the Yidden themselves. And what's the Maila of the Yidden themselves? Shem Neitzer Matai Mase Yodel Ispor, that the Yidden are the branch that the Eibishter planted, and the Eibishter's work that he created with his own hands, and in which the Eibishter takes glory. And this Maila that the Yidden have, mitzad what they are as the creations, the handiwork of the Eibishter, is even higher. This is even higher than the Hamshacha that's drawn down by performing mitzvahs. Right? So like we said in the beginning of the Maimer, that this is one of many, countless Mamarim, and the Rebbe explains to us again and again that the Inyan of Torah and mitzvahs is there to reveal the Maila of the Yid himself. And therefore, when it comes to Tchiya Hameisim, when we're going to have the ultimate revelation of the Yid, of the Maila of the Yid, in order to have that, first we're going to have a stage of reward for the mitzvahs. The reward for the mitzvahs is what? Schar mitzvah is the revelation of the Hamshacha of the mitzvah. And this that the mitzvah draws down into this world is going to reveal, it's going to shine a light and reveal the Maila of the Yid himself. So the Inyan of mitzvahs, or one of the Inyanim of mitzvahs, is to reveal the Maila of the Yid himself. On the Shama Beguf Dafka. Because this is going to be, like we said, in Tchiya Hameisim, which is a reward for the Aveda of an Neshama Beguf Dafka. It's not just pshat that there's going to be two Inyanim in Tchiya Hameisim. That the primary Chiddush, novelty, that didn't exist before and that's only going to exist during Tchiya Hameisim, Hu she'as tiskala ma'ila shisol atzmo. This is the highest level. What's the great thing of Tchiya Hameisim? What makes Tchiya Hameisim a special thing is that then there will be the revelation of the Maila of the Yidden. The Gili Hamshachas Nimshachas al mitzvahs, because the revelation of the Hamshachas that we do through mitzvahs, that's not a chiddush of Tchiya Hameisim. That's going to exist already in the times of Yemei Mashiach. Ukamavur Betanya, like it says in Tanya, Shaldei Ma'asenu. This is also about the Bechazos so many times. Shaldei Ma'asenu v'Avedesenu Achshav. Through our work now, Mamshichim Ein Sef Lamata. We're Mamshich the Ein Sef Lamata. V'Hagilid Hamshachazu, and the revelation of this Hamshacha that we're doing now, Yeh B'Yemei Mashiach. Ubetchiya Hameisim is going to be during the time of Yemei Mashiach, and also in the time of Tchiya Hameisim. Only that in Tchiya Hameisim, the Hamshacha of our Aveda, of the Torah mitzvahs that we learn now and perform today, is going to be even higher than it would be in the times of Yemei Mashiach. However, the bottom line is that even before Tchiya Hameisim, you have the revelation of the Aveda of Torah and mitzvahs. And if you had it already before Tchiya Hameisim, you can't say that that's the big deal of Tchiya Hameisim because it existed already before. What's the big deal? Why is Tchiya Hameisim the highest level, the ultimate level? Because then you're going to have the revelation of the Yid, of the Maila of the Yid. The Iker HaChidush VaHa'ili, the primary novelty and the primary Maila of Tchiya Hameisim, Sha'oz Yiskala HaSherish to Yisrael K'moi Shehem Mushashim Ba'atzmas. Because then we will have the revelation of the Sherish of the Yidden as they are rooted in the Atzmos. So this is a deeper level also within a Yid.
I always understood Tchiya Hameisim is you're coming back in a perfected state.
True.
So
Yeah.
that's it. You're coming in, so
But as an Neshama to go.
yeah, of course, but you're coming back in a perfected state. So whatever you do in Torah and mitzvahs is from that level of being. It's going to be a whole new level of Torah and mitzvahs.
There's a lot of it. We're not reducing Tchiya Hameisim to one thing. There's going to be a lot of things going on, but the question is, what's the inner point of it? What's the pneumius of it? There's going to be a lot of things going on. Why is it going to be in a perfected state? Because then you're going to have the revelation of the Maila of a Yid. In other words, the Eibishter created a world, and he said, I'm going to send my children down into this world, right? And they're going to do a lot of work, but they're my children. Yeah, you understand what we're talking? I'm talking about the Eibishter's children, if you think about it for a second. We're the Eibishter's children. That's what's going to be revealed by Tchiya Hameisim. That we're mushush and atzmus, just like a child is mushush by his father, and even more so by the Eibishter. We're mushush. That's the primary thing. As a result of that, there will be a lot of other things going on. Like you said, that the person will be back down here in a perfected state. Those are all outcomes. That's one answer you could give. Another answer that you could give is that the Rebbe himself said in the Maimer that there will be two stages in Tchiya Hameisim. And it could be that what you're referencing, that the person will be back here in a perfected state, that's talking about the first Inyan and the first period in Tchiya Hameisim, which then will be the revelation of the mitzvahs that we do today. However, that now when we do mitzvahs, we're drawing down a lot of Kedusha, but you can't see it.
Right.
So but Tchiya Hameisim will have the revelation of all of this Kedusha. And this idea that Tchiya Hameisim will be when the Yidden are in a perfected state is a reference to the first period in Tchiya Hameisim. However, what the Rebbe is talking about is the second and higher period in Tchiya Hameisim, which is the revelation of the Yid himself. Okay. Let's see Ha'ara 22. Let's see Ha'ara 22, where he said that the Ikar Chiddush of Tchiya Hameisim is going to be that we're going to see the way the Yidden are mushush and atzmus, the mile of the Yidden, the way they're mushush and atzmus. It says like this: the tachlis aliyah de la'aseh. What's the highest aliyah? After there's many aliyahs, but what's the highest one? What is it really all about? The Yidden will reach their true root and source, because there's nothing higher than the true root and source of a Yid. And that's how he teaches the words of Daling that we mentioned before. When the Pasuk says, in Demelecha, there's nobody who's similar to you in the times of Tchiya Hameisim, is that there will be the revelation of the root and the source of the neshamas, just like the amitas ha'atzmus, just like the truth of atzmus. I'm not going to get into trying to teach the last few words over there. But next time when davening comes and we're saying the words in Demelech HaMeshiach L'Tchias Hameisim, what is he talking about? Look at the person who's standing to your right and look at the person who's standing to your left. He's talking about that this yid and that yid, and he also look at yourself in the middle. We're going to have the revelation of how we are all Mushash and Atzmus. That's in Demelech HaMeshiach L'Tchias Hameisim. That we're going to see how we're all Mushash, we're all rooted in the essence of the Eibishter. That's those words in davening. It's a bislach weiß.
I'm asking if you could sell it in Ballpark.
In Ballpark dacht ik me kenschen.
Yeah.
In Williamsburg nicht uit gezien, aber ze heeft zich aan.
They want to go show me the money.
Okay. Gut, sagt man also. Veshleimer says there, but the mashakatsu become a drushim. So over here, first of all, in Gimel, we already have what's l'chura chiddush of the Rebbe. The Rebbe isn't mitzayin. If you look in the Haaretz, the Rebbe isn't mitzayin to too many places, and the Rebbe starts Gimel with a Yeshleimer. So you have to ask somebody who learned a lot, and even he won't be an authority to say, but at least he'll have a better chance of getting it right if this is a word that you see in other places. But l'chura, this is a chiddush of the Rebbe. That in Tchias Hameisim, you're going to have two kufas in Tchias Hameisim itself. And that what's going to be the greatness of the second kufa, which one is higher, the revelation of the shirish of the yid, that's the highest level in Tchias Hameisim. And that's the ikr of Tchias Hameisim. Okay? So after learning these Inyan, I don't understand how a person could be the same. I mean, I understand very well, actually. But how gufa kasha, how you could be the same after. So V'yeshleimer now says there was something else. It says in several drushim, including the one that the Rebbe mentioned as the Nekudas Habir to the Mishnah, it says that in Tchias Hameisim we're going to have the revelation of the Hamshacha of mitzvahs. So that's bestir to what the Rebbe is saying, that in Tchias Hameisim you're going to have the revelation of the sheirush of the yid and the maila of the yid. So it says, "Kisham meduber b'haschali yisrael shiur b'elam haba avur avedasam b'teinu mitzvos b'elam hazeh." In those ma'amarim, they're talking about the reward in Elam Haba and Tchias Hameisim for what the yidden are doing now in Elam Hazeh. Their Torah and mitzvahs. And the shleimus of the schar for performing mitzvahs is that they're going to have the revelation that the mitzvahs brought into this world. Therefore, those drushim also mention that the reward for the neshamas in Gan Eden is that they could truly comprehend the getlichkeit of the Torah that they learn in Elam Hazeh. In other words, not in Elam Hazeh we learn so much Torah, but do we feel and perceive the likus shebedavar? Halavai. When you learn Chassidus a little more, when you learn Nigla, sometimes it could be very difficult. So the schar of Gan Eden is that all of the Torah that we learned now, we're going to feel and see the likus in the Torah that we learned then, and we're going to comprehend it, we're going to grasp it. The Torah is the Torah is the Chachma of the Eibishter, which is the Mamalik. And then afterwards, Tchias Hameisim, Aschar the Tchias Hameisim, which is going to come after that, that then our eyes will see the revelation of Alikus, the infinite revelation of the revelation of the infinity of the Alikus.
What's the bed again?
Baal Gvul.
Bilti
Baal Gvul. Baal Gvul. The infinite revelation level of godliness that we will see, Bilti Mugbal, that we will see, that comes through performing mitzvahs. Which this is the Ratzin of the Eibishter, which this is already the Eira Sefer. However, both of those inyanim that are explained in the Mamor, this is all in the category of the reward for the Aveda of the Yidden for their work in doing Torah, in learning Torah and doing mitzvahs. And that's what those other Mamorim, the earlier Mamorim from the Rabbeim, are talking about. However, now in this Maimon, the Rebbe says, the Iker HaChidush VaHa'ilush Yeh B'Elam Haba, however, the primary novelty and the primary Maila, the primary thing that makes Tchias Hameisim is Hu'agili D'Mailas Yisrael Atzmam, the revelation of the Maila of the Yidden themselves, which is that they are Netzer Matai, Masa Yodeli Spur, that they are the branch from the tree that the Eibishter planted, and they are that work of the Eibishter's hands himself in which he takes glory. So we have like this. It's a time that's called Tchiya Hameisim. And there are two things in Tchiya Hameisim. One part in Tchiya Hameisim is that we're going to have the reward for the mitzvahs that we do now. And now over here in this Rambam, the Rebbe tells us a new thing. That in Tchiya Hameisim, we're also going to have the revelation of what the Yid is. So why will every Yid be in Tchiya Hameisim as opposed to Gan Eden? For two reasons. First of all, because they do mitzvahs. Second of all, you know why every Yid is going to be in Tchiya Hameisim? Because he's a Yid. That's why he's going to be in Tchiya Hameisim. In Gan Eden, we're talking about the reward for learning Torah. And that's a lower reward. And that doesn't go to the core, to the essence of what a Yid is. And therefore, Lav Dafka will every Yid has to come there, but first he has to fulfill the conditions. Mashenk in Tchiya Hameisim is the revelation of what a Yid himself is. And that's why every single Yid is going to be there. Okay, so we have two reasons. First reason is Va'amich Kulam Tzadikim, that all the Yidden are Tzadikim because they do mitzvahs. And the second reason is Netzer Matai Mas Yada Lispar, because a Yid is Musrish and Atzmus. Because the Yid comes from the essence of the Eibishter. Okay, L'chura, we should stop over here. And we'll continue next week to try to understand what these Inyanim are. Next week we're already going to have, like the Bianca is saying, yeah, Tchiya Hameisim straight.
Be witnessing.
We're with Len and